Welcome. I'm Frank Gruber.
And I'm Jen Consalvo, and we are the co-CEOs of Established. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're really excited that you're here, from wherever you're from, in your living room, in your home office. We're excited that you could join us.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging time for startups to survive and thrive, and we're here to support our community in every way. So this is why Established is producing 4 Startup of the Year online pitch competitions, and we're helping to build momentum for our 8th annual Startup of the Year Summit, which will be happening in the fall. These events create additional opportunities to elevate and support early stage founders and their businesses.
So this is our 3rd live event since March, and we have a few more on the calendar, so make sure to save the dates. Hopefully you're seeing them on the slide somewhere. Put them in your calendar, come learn about some incredible companies, and cheer them on. Today's winner will earn an automatic fast track spot as a top 100 semifinalist to appear in our 8th annual Startup of the Year competition, taking place online in November at our first virtual summit. They'll also receive office hours with some of today's gracious judges. Some of these events are organized by theme. So for example, our last event was COVID-19 focused, but today we're proud to recognize female founders.
Yes, women founded companies are our focus today, especially first-time founders. We have, first-time founders in general have been grossly overlooked by venture capitalist funding. And obviously with the current pandemic and climate out there, it's definitely a concern that female founders are going to continue to be have bigger hurdles to overcome when it comes to venture capitalist groups, because they're a little bit more risk averse.
Right. We don't know what's going to happen exactly. So, overall venture capital investment in all female founded teams hit $3.3 billion in 2019. So that was actually a pretty big record. So it represents 2.8% of capital invested across the entire U.S. startup ecosystem this year, according to the latest data in PitchBook. So that's great, but let's look at the bigger picture here. So women make up more than half of the highly skilled creative class. They comprise about a third of business owners, and they make up 30% of all high-tech employment.
And 50% of our screen.
Right
here.
50% of the population too. And it's estimated that about 20 to 30% of all startups are founded by women. Yet, all male teams still raised more than 85% of all US venture capital dollars in 2019. And all women-led teams raised less than 3%.
Right.
Decision makers at the VC firms are still more than 90% male. So until we see parity, we need to create opportunities like this for these incredible businesses that are essential to our economy. So it's part of our role to help this shift along, help shift the trend line in our industry. So cheers to all of you for being here today and helping to support these companies.
Yes, this is why we're here today. We're really excited about it, and thank you all for joining again. We want to help startups build the bridges to be successful and help them really thrive and create the connections to make that possible. So we're giving startups a place to share their work, and at the same time providing a place for them to engage with the industry experts that we brought together and help them guide them to further grow their businesses.
So from an investment standpoint, again, we don't know exactly what will happen, but we hear that some investment may be slowing down, at least for a while, becoming a little bit more risk averse as they try to understand the climate. But we're proud to push forward. So we have established ventures, and we have an opportunity to make several investments in startups that are part of our Startup of the Year community. And in fact, 2 out of 3 of this year's investments so far have been in women-led companies.
Yes, we're taking a look at a lot of companies right now. We're very excited at the opportunity to throw a little money in to help support them.
Yep.
All right, so before we jump into the competition, before we go any further, I want to let everyone out there that's on the interwebs watching along, following along, have a chance to vote as well for their favorite startup. So if you're on the internet and you want to open up another browser, you can check out the People's Choice Award poll, which is out there at soty.link/People's Choice. It should be in the chat as well as probably floating around us somewhere on our screen. And you get a chance to vote for your favorite company. The winner will actually be announced at the end of the event, and they'll receive a silver microphone trophy to cherish and put in their trophy case.
I have a huge trophy case. Personally, I don't know about you.
Of course, yes.
So we do respect everyone's time and are eager to get started. But first, we want to give you a high-level overview of Startup of the Year and establish the company that produces it. So we're a consultancy that helps organizations with their innovation strategies. So for example, we work with large organizations such as Newstar, NASA, AFWorks, and many others, banks, airlines, to connect them with innovators and rising young companies within specific verticals. If you want to learn more, let's talk.
Call your hand.
Call my hand.
Yes. All right. Start of the Year is established, most well-known program. We've been running it for quite some time. It's a competition, but as you know, but it's also a resource and a platform for meaningful connections. So as Jen mentioned, our 2020 competition will culminate in the late fall. It'll be our 8th annual summit, and 100 startups will actually be semifinalists at that event, and we'll be hosting it virtually. And the grand title they'll all be competing for is Startup of the Year, as well as $20,000 in potential investment from established ventures, as well as a plethora of other connections that'll be had. And we've had companies come through and find other investors as well as us and really push along. And so we're excited about that coming up in the fall. Again, it'll be virtual this year, obviously. Which will be our first virtual summit.
All right. So, and for even more opportunity this year, we've partnered with .us. So our URL is established.us. But we've partnered with them to honor U.S. veteran founders through the .us Veteran Startup of the Year. So this is a category within the overall competition, and we'll award a $10,000 non-dilutive cash prize to the winner. So we're really excited about this. The link is in the chat and on the screen.
Somewhere.
In fact, our next virtual pitch competition on July 23rd will support the .us Veteran Startup of the Year efforts. So if you are a U.S. veteran founder or a spouse or dependent of a U.S. veteran, check your eligibility on our page and apply before June 25th for this extra opportunity. We're really excited about this.
What is that, like a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's coming up
Get
fast.
those applications in.
And .us is also providing our established and Startup of the Year community a free .us domain. So grab this offer.
I have ideas.
I think right now a lot of people out there have ideas. What this world needs is for all of you to bring your ideas to life. They do no good sitting on the back shelf. So grab a free domain, get your idea out there, get started.
And there's a link also on the screen right now.
Yes.
To my, I guess that'd be my right.
Hopefully.
All
right. So in short, the 2020 Startup of the Year application is still open, as are these fast track opportunities like I mentioned. So if you haven't already, please apply. And if you're a startup that's already applied, you don't need to apply again. You're already in the running.
We got you.
And we're excited to learn more about you.
All right. So we support our community of entrepreneurs, investors, startups, ecosystem builders, corporate innovators, and startup enthusiasts. We also have a couple of other opportunities to connect and engage. We have our daily deal flow newsletter. So if you're not familiar, we put a newsletter out every weekday with a startup that's raising funding, and we try to connect them with an investor looking to invest in a company. So if you're an early stage company, it's a great opportunity to meet other investors, and we've had companies find checks from investors through that. So we're excited about that, and you can go check out more about the daily deal flow newsletter, as well as our Startup of the Year podcast, which is out there where all podcasts are offered. It's a lot of fun. We produce a lot of different interviews and things and wrap-ups. This will probably end up being a wrap-up, so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but you'll be able to get the highlights of this virtual event on our podcast.
But
later.
Who wouldn't want to see
But yeah, right, exactly. And also, obviously, if you're here and you like clicking buttons like I do, you can go and subscribe now to our YouTube channel, which is also on the screen somewhere. And you can click that little subscribe now and then find out about our upcoming events every time we go live, which we do quite a bit now, I feel like.
Yes. All right. We're ready to get started. So first, we want to introduce our incredible panel of experts.
Amazing panel of experts.
Amazing panel. So excited.
Yes.
So first up, Jean Case. So excited to have Jean participate today. Jean is the chairman of National Geographic and the CEO of Case Impact Network. She is a businesswoman, investor, philanthropist, and impact investing pioneer who is a passionate believer in the power of business to do good and advocates for the importance of embracing a more fearless approach to innovate and bring about transformational breakthroughs. So in January 2019, Jean's first book called Be Fearless, 5 Principles for a Life of Breakthroughs and Purpose
That was a little too close.
Was released. Like close, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are thrilled to share that she sent a signed copy of that book to each of today's participating startups. Thank you so much for being here today, Jean.
Oh, man. Jen and Frank, it's a delight to be back with you guys. And I couldn't be more excited to hear from these female founders. As you know, I'm a great champion of female founders. Normally, if we're in the room together, we bring a lot of energy and clapping to give them confidence before they go on. So virtually, I'm doing it for all of you.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Everyone do their like Superman pose, Superwoman pose.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Jean.
All right. Next up, we are excited to have Eric Bahn join us. He's the co-founder and general partner of the Hustle Fund, which is an early-stage venture capital firm that invests in software startups at the pre-seed and seed stages, backing founders who exhibit great execution and high velocity, aka hustle. Previously, Eric was an angel investor and venture partner at 500 startups, and he's been part of our panels in the past. So welcome back, Eric.
Welcome, Eric.
Thank you so much. It's a great opportunity to be here. I'm so excited for this event, but I'm a little bit angry that you put me right after Gene Case, because that is like the worst position to be in to follow that. But thank you so much.
I love your background too.
Yeah, this is my real garage. That's my real garbage cans and recycling bins. I do compost.
Oh, I didn't even notice that was a garage door. That's cool. It looked like you're in like an Airstream or something. I don't know. It just looked like really. It's cool.
Hey, we're all doing our best here through this crisis, right?
Exactly.
We're in it together.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Eric. All right. Next up, we've got Jessie Draper. She's a founding partner of Halogen Ventures, as well as the creator and host of the Emmy-nominated television series, The Valley Girl Show. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
She's also a fourth-generation venture capitalist focused on early-stage investing in female-founded consumer technology companies. Jessie, great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about this. I've been excited, all month. And I'm really, really happy to be focused on female founders today. We invest in female founders at Halogen Ventures. We have 62 female founded companies, and they're doing really well for us. We had $200 million exits last year. And so we're betting on women as an opportunity and as a moneymaker. So for all of the startups today pitching, I would just say, think big, keep thinking big, build your billion-dollar business, and just get out there. Good luck.
Love it. Thanks so much. I love that that's a lot of companies.
I know. Thank you for helping to change the stats.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Next up, we've got Cheryl Campos. She's the director of growth and partnerships at Republic, a one-stop shop for founders to raise capital from both accredited and non-accredited investors. She's passionate about the intersection of finance, technology, and social impact, and is focused on introducing underrepresented founders to alternative funding sources in order to help their startups thrive. Thank you for joining us today, Cheryl. Welcome.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you guys doing this because it's much needed, quite frankly. Republic has 40% of female founders, and we want to continue pushing that up, right? We can never have too many. And if anything, I'm just so blessed that we can continue to have everyone around the world really invest in startups they believe in, and particularly democratize access to fundraising and investing. So pleasure to be here.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you and welcome. All right. Last but not least, we've got Phil Nadel. He's the co-founder and managing director of Forefront Venture Partners. He's a serial entrepreneur, angel investor, published author. He frequently speaks speaks personally, but also at events. He's also the co-founder, like I mentioned, of Forefront Venture Partners, which he co-founded in 2014. It was formerly Barbara Corcoran's Venture Partners of Shark Tank fame. So we're honored to have you back, Phil. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Great to be back with you all, and looking forward to meeting some of these founders. This should be another great event. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. I always ask about backgrounds. It seems like what's that artwork in the background? I noticed.
That's a digital frame made by a company we invested in called Mural, which actually exited a few years ago to Netgear. But it displays great artwork from around the world, and it keeps rotating different pieces of art.
Oh, wow. We should get something like that. That's cool.
That's great.
Really great. Well, thanks so much, Phil.
Great.
All right. So just 3 more important thank yous before we get started. First, thank you to Zoho for sponsoring this event featuring female-led companies. Zoho is a suite of online productivity tools and SaaS applications. They're offering a 30-day trial of Zoho Creator to those who attend this event. That's all of you, as well as their Zoho Creator workshop on June 9th. So yes, the link is in the chat. Check them out. Also, thank you so much to American Airlines, our longtime partner and supporter. We've been working with American for a long time. Years. Right now,
before I had gray hair.
Right.
These are summer blondes. They're not gray. Right. This is also a COVID cut. Like I cut myself.
Yeah, so. we both just gave ourselves the COVID haircuts at home.
So bear with us.
But as everyone knows, American Airlines, all the airlines are going through a tough time right now. So we're especially grateful for their partnership. And are excited for, the future when we can jump back on the plane. And Covalent Logic, they're our official design partner. So thanks so much, Covalent Logic, for our beautiful graphics.
Yes. All right, now let's get started. This is what we've been waiting for, but I want to explain how it's going to go down. So we're going to have 2 minutes. The starters are going to have 2 minutes to pitch, and then the judges will engage in 8 minutes of Q&A. So we'll be able to talk to them back and forth. So have your questions ready. There's going to be a way for you to raise your hand and ask your questions, and we'll kind of try to go through everyone. And then also we'll have a surprise guest that will remind us each time that we're about at that 10-minute point.
Is she here?
Oh, I've been here all along waiting to say hello and good luck to all the startups. And don't go over time because I will be back to remind you. Good luck, everyone.
Wow. You should have spent more on the voiceover.
Yeah. But boy, she's looking good today.
Yep.
Bessie,
really,
we're so excited you're here.
Welcome, Bessie. Excited for you to be here. I love llamas. I wish she was here actually in person. That'd be amazing. All right. Next
All right. Without further ado, we're going to jump into our first startup. Based in Washington, D.C., we have Cherry Blossom Intimates. Let's watch their pitch.
More than 3.5 million women in the United States are currently living with breast cancer. 268,000 women will be diagnosed this year alone. Do you know a breast cancer survivor? Where does she shop for bras and prosthetics? Through innovation and inclusion, I've created Cherry Blossom Intimates, a business designed to help breast cancer survivors in a new way. I found a way to house an accredited medical facility within a lingerie boutique atmosphere. We specialize in prosthetics, but what makes us even more special is our offering of custom breast prosthetics. Using 3D printing technology, we build women new breasts, offering these prosthetics in 36 different skin tones. We can add freckles and veins. We can even customize her nipples. All of this happens in a beautiful space so that women can shop with dignity. Alongside of our prosthetics, we also offer bras in 200 sizes so that women can shop with their best friends, their sisters, their mothers, and their daughters. Our most popular bra size is a 40 band and a G cup. We accept all major insurance providers, including Medicare and Medicaid. Since opening about a year ago, we've helped over 3,000 patients and have done over $350,000 in sales. I've partnered with a breast surgeon who refers her patients to us, along with 18 other medical facilities that also send their patients our way. We're able to fulfill prescriptions for patients on an annual basis. I have a background in entrepreneurship and I've studied retail finance. I'm also a Forbes Under 30 list maker in the retail category and a former Miss DC USA. We pride ourselves in being a high margin, high lifetime value business as breast prosthetics are reimbursable and patients are able to fulfill their prescriptions with us each year. In the coming year, we are planning a 7-city tour where we bring these fit services to women through breast cancer survivor empowerment events. This is my life's work because I lost my grandmother to breast cancer and I remember her negative experience. Thank you so much for this opportunity and I look forward to your question.
So judges, please raise your hand and jump in with your questions and make sure you unmute if you are already muted.
Yep, okay. Eric, go ahead.
First of all, Jasmine, congratulations on such a high impact business that you're creating here. My first question is more around what COVID has done to change your business, because it seems like this is such a great in-person experience and concierge kind of business. So what kinds of things are you experimenting with in this current environment?
So we've been really successful with virtual fittings. So because of COVID-19, there have been some changes in Medicare regulation, which allows us to operate more easily directly to consumers. So the first thing that we did after we closed our doors was reach out to our women who are eligible for prescription refills. That was over 30 women immediately, and we were able to ship them off their items directly. And then the following month, we were able to do another 30 as well, and our insurance billing continues amid COVID. So we've done the virtual fittings. We've also pivoted to ask our in-house physician questions. So you can chat with the in-house physician. She's hosted about 7 virtual webinars for patients and then for other doctors who will refer their patients once we reopen. And then we've been doing bra drawer cleanouts. We've been having girl chats and hangouts to build our community so that women can continue to keep us top of mind. We plan to reopen in the next 2 weeks on an appointment basis, and we've had great success. Even though we've been closed for 69 days, we've done about $19,000 in sales.
Wow, great.
Jean,
go ahead.
Well, first of all, Jasmine, thanks for what you do. I am a breast cancer survivor, so I have a real understanding of the value that you're bringing to this world for what you're doing. But my question for you, I love that you're partnering with a physician, but you're in DC. We have GW, we have Georgetown, we have Hopkins up the road, NIH. Are you doing any institutional partnerships where they can help advance your product?
Yes, actually. So we have connections with Johns Hopkins. They're able to refer their patients, but we can accept patients from anywhere in the nation. So we have 19 total medical facilities that send their patients to us as of now. We have pre-printed prescription forms. So a person can just have a prescription filled out from their doctor and bring it into our boutique. They can download it off the internet and then just come on in. And then from there, after we fit them once, we can connect with them and make sure their items still fit them comfortably and just continue to resend them items in the future. So yes, it's more than the one doctor, it's 18 others.
Great.
Excellent. Who's got the next question?
Phil.
Yeah.
So Jasmine, congratulations on an innovative product and really much needed, solving a real pain point. So Eric had asked about sort of how COVID is affecting you. I'm wondering, post-COVID, are you relying on a brick and mortar build out model? Are you going to build locations throughout the country? Is that the model? Or are you partnering with established retailers or doctors? What's the model post-COVID?
So before this global pandemic, we expected to do a nationwide pop-up where we visited 7 major cities and we would fit women in person. But now we've actually, since we've had such great success with this virtual model, are sort of pivoting our idea to be more so the Warby Parker of post-mastectomy products. For instance, a woman can just grab her phone and do her fitting herself at home, and then be able to send her items from there. So that is the concept and the idea that's really been sparked by this global pandemic, what happens if we can't touch her sort of issue. But there's a huge opportunity for that, and we're very excited for that.
And you that's great. You can get the same level of accuracy that you need to have an accurate fitting virtually?
We're working on it, yes. So my concept is sort of like how you can put glasses on yourself on Snapchat. Can we do the same thing for bras and prosthetics? And if we can get it very close, then we can send her a box and she can just pay for what she keeps and send back the ones that don't fit.
Got it. Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next? Jesse?
Oh, yeah. First of all, I love this. I love that you can take insurance. I mean, I've never heard of an intimates company that can be covered by insurance. I think that's incredible. And I'd love to know, just in terms of prosthetics, what you plan to branch out to first, in addition to this, and then also what is a typical transaction size, and do you have any like repurchasing order data?
Yes. So for the next step in prosthetics, it's bringing our manufacturing in-house to increase our margin. So right now we're at about 55 to 63% margin, but bringing it in-house would get us up to 83%. And then you said, remind me the next question, the second piece.
The transaction size and repurchasing order.
So for a woman who's had a double mastectomy, on average, we're able to bill her insurance $7,000 annually or biannually for both breasts. And then we're able to also bill insurance for her bras as well. Some insurance companies allow us to bill up to 12 bras, so she's eligible for 12 bras a year, but it really just depends on the insurance company. But they're able to come back, and we're able to remind them that they can pop back in the boutique or that we can send it to their home, and we make it really easy and really comfortable and really fun for them.
Great.
Thank you.
Next question.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Hey, thank you so much once again for your presentation. My question is, you currently have this product right now, but what's kind of the roadmap ahead, and sort of where do you see this fitting in as well with, the family members of that person? I know that you mentioned that, people can have fun in the boutique and also buy for themselves. So would love to kind of see what the roadmap looks like in your mind.
So I think we could definitely be the Warby Parker of post-mastectomy, but it doesn't stop there. I think that there's a huge void in this market for women who are not a traditional size, who are searching for bras. So our boutique actually carries over 200 bra sizes. So we go from 28 band through 54 band and A cup through N cup. And more often than not, we're seeing that women are in the wrong size bra, We're seeing that now a D is that they think they are is really a G cup that fits them better and is more comfortable. So that's one part of the business, but we're also seeing that women who've experienced mastectomy love to have a community. So being able to build that out, sort of having digital communities, in-person communities, digital events, in-person events, because that doesn't exist either. Having very open conversations with breast cancer survivors, being a resource hub for them. Where do women talk about sexuality after experiencing breast cancer? Where do they talk about penciling in their eyebrows after radiation and chemo? There's no place for that, so we hope to be that national and then international brand for that.
Great. Oh yeah, Phil. Unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I wonder if you could just talk briefly about the team. Is it just you? Are you a solo founder, or do you have a team?
I partnered with the breast surgeon, so she's my co-founder, and we both work very diligently hand in hand to grow the company. But that's actually something that we need non-monetarily. So I would love to have a COO. Right now, I'm the CEO and the CTO. So ideas kind of come through my mind and go through production, but I would love to have a person who has a bit more experience with growing on that side to help us out. And I'm really excited for that in the future.
Thanks.
All right. I think that's all the questions we have. All the time's up. Time we have for this.
Yes.
Bessie
Thanks so much, Jasmine.
Thank you, Jasmine. What a great way to kick this off, too.
Take care.
Yep. All right.
I think we're up for number 2.
Yeah, we're up for number 2. All right. Next up, the startup is where is it? Indianapolis, right?
Yep.
MITO, Material Solutions, which we're excited to hear from them right now. Let's hear the pitch. Hopefully,
100 years ago, the most sturdy industrial materials were wood and metal. Today, the new standard is composites. A market worth $137 billion, composite materials include thermoplastics, carbon fiber, and fiberglass materials. And this industry is set to grow due to the lightweighting initiatives and wanting to push the limit without sacrificing material performance. But composites have their limitations too, mainly the glue or epoxy that holds them all together. The epoxy is brittle and can crack and lead to overall part life failures, which prevents composites from being the go-to choice of materials. Hi, I'm Haley Marie Keith, CEO of MITO Material Solutions. At MITO, we produce graphene hybrid modifiers that enhance composites through the epoxy. Our chemistry is unique, offering our customers the versatile ability to create tougher, lighter, and more durable parts without changing their manufacturing process. Now, compared to other leading technologies, MITO can push performance higher at lower loading levels and making us more accessible to cost-sensitive industries. And that's exactly where we found our market niche. Our current pipeline has over $124 million in total opportunity, with customers spanning the transportation, marine, and recreational sectors. In fact, our first piloting customer is a semi-truck trailer manufacturer who's looking to move away from steel sandwich panels to composites. Now, other additives didn't fit the bill, but with MITO, the goal of a lighter freight trailer that can reduce carbon emissions by 50% is achievable. This is due because MITO works with our manufacturing partners to distribute our product at volume as our customers pull us through the supply chain. The MITO team is balanced with technical and business expertise and experience in chemical manufacturing, sales, and composite integration, and we're backed by industry experts who advise us regularly. When I joined this industry, I realized that advanced materials were only for advanced industries. But today we're here to change that. Join MITO Materials in empowering all industries to use the next generation of materials. Thank you.
Let's start with some judges' questions. Who's got the first one? Phil, go ahead.
Hi, Haley. It sounds like a very cool product. Not an area I really know that well, but can you give me a sense of what the competitive landscape looks like? I mean, what are the other options for companies that are considering this kind of solution?
Yeah, so there are competing technologies like carbon nanotubes, which are more tube-like structures. There's some nanosilica beads that are out there that are like little plastic beads that are being infused to resin systems to improve toughness. But ours is really a very unique product because it's a hybrid chemical and hybrid chemical modifiers. So we have chemical and physical bonding points. We utilize a material called graphene oxide, which is providing some really great and beneficial properties. And then we also hybridize that with a POS structure, which actually creates the chemical bonding points. And so it's a different type of structure that we're utilizing. And other competing products in the marketplace right now are extremely expensive and targeted towards more high-end, high-performance industries. With MITO, the hybrid nature of our product and the way that we manufacture it is opening a lot of doors for multiple industry applications.
Do you have patents to protect it?
We do. We have 2 patents that we've exclusively licensed, and then we're filing additional patents as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Cheryl,
this is Cheryl. I wanted to jump in here. Thank you so much for your presentation as well. I wanted to kind of ask a little bit more about kind of what your traction has looked like in terms of your customers, but at the same time, what's your plan on how to make this widespread? Since you say that you're kind of fighting an uphill battle and trying to make this the standard, how are you trying to do that?
Yeah, so I think we have a very unique approach at MITO where we work with the end use manufacturers. So we really work with them to understand and qualify their problem. And that goes back to my background working in the RV industry for several years. And so by understanding those problems and how we could directly affect the consumers that have the issues, the manufacturers that have the issues, and how we can directly solve them, it gives us a really unique overview of the market. So the majority of our traction has been pretty organic, large companies reaching out, interested in testing and qualifying a new material. We've done some specific outreach in areas that we know have specific problems. And I think as we grow, it's kind of, I used this analogy earlier, it's like we're open sourcing our material. So we're using kind of an open source mindset of gathering all this data, characterizing it in multiple materials, and then working with our customers to identify the solution that's going to work best for them. And I think that that's how, one of the ways our model will scale. The other is we have several different variations of our product that's coming out. And so that will also help with the widespread applications.
Makes sense. Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
Hey, Haley. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your sales cycle looks like?
Yeah, so it's a long process. I won't be ashamed to admit it. We have to test and qualify materials. So when we integrate into a specific resin or plastic type, there's some qualification testing that goes along with the customer. What MITO is doing is formulating a lot of those tests and characterizing those results and using that as an inroad to the customer to get to that next qualification step. And the timeline for our sales runs around 6 to 12 months. The majority of that time is spent testing the material. Some fatigue tests take longer than others. And then once it's qualified, we go through the negotiation process of implementing it and integrating it into the product or materials. And then we're on schedule for the next production run.
Great. Yeah, Jesse and then Jean.
Great. I just because it sounds like a few of us are not as familiar with this industry as I would like to be. I would just suggest that in your pitch, maybe you put some pictures so that we fully get. I felt like we didn't fully. Well, I felt like I didn't fully digest everything, and you clearly have an incredible background, and you're building such an amazing, unique product. The one thing that stood out to me is you said it was 125 million, 24 million addressable market. And I always look at $1 billion markets just because the economics on a VC fund, we have to pay back our investors. And so we look for $1 billion markets. So I would be curious because if that's the total addressable market, you'll only take a certain percentage of that typically.
That's actually our pipeline opportunity currently.
Oh, that's your current pipeline opportunity. Oh, it said addressable market, and I was like, let's go bigger.
Well, we have billions. Yeah, our composite market is worth $135 billion. The additives that are looking to service that market, which we consider to be the total addressable, is a $10 billion market. The specific space that we're in is growing at a 37%.
Okay, not an issue then.
Yeah, no, it's big numbers.
Good question and clarification. Thank you. Jean, go ahead.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One is, and it kind of follows up with Jesse's question a little bit, which is how do you define sort of the sectors that you will prioritize in your sales channel? It sounds like you have a lot of different opportunities for application of this product. And then can you touch just a bit on your team, who's working on this and what's that look like?
Yeah, so you're not alone. This industry is not very well known. So the way I like to think about it is like, think about how flour is in a lot of different baking and ingredients and cooking, right? You use it a lot. So MITO is like the enriched flour. We're adding vitamins into this. And so with that, our model doesn't change very much when we go into these different industries. We've identified industries that are going to take a long time, aerospace being one of them. We've also identified some lower regulated markets that are going to be quick and easier to adopt. We're looking into thermoplastics as a beachhead opportunity, but also some areas in transportation where there's going to be a lot of lightweighting initiatives that we could add a lot of value. So that's kind of the way that we are scoping out our market. The good thing about the way that we're characterizing our materials is that once we have those materials characterized, it opens our doors to communicate to another market need. And so as we do that and grow, we'll be able to address, the longer term markets like aerospace and give ourselves time to do that. But right now we're targeting lower regulated but high need market areas. So our team is a really great combination. Actually, I'm married to my co-founder. He has an engineering degree. I have a business degree. So we've got both sides kind of living it all the time. I spun this technology out of Oklahoma State University during my MBA and pulled him right alongside me and said, we got to do this. This is a huge opportunity. We have a PhD in chemistry who has scaled our product and is working on additional variations, a material scientist, and the material inventor who is a part of our key advising team that's working on material characterization, and then a business developer who's got global experience in sales.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Haley.
Thank you so much. I love the flower analogy. I love seeing Bessie again too. That was fun.
Yes. We're also fans of husband-wife teams.
Yes, we are.
And I was really appreciative of that. And we like it a lot too. And we also have a young daughter as well. So
excellent.
We're
all right. Shockingly, I knew what graphene was. Only because of our work with NASA iTech, we've seen a few graphene companies.
I needed that flower analogy, and I wondered if there was like a gluten-free option. In case you wanted that as well. So we'll have to bring her back and ask about that. And I'd love to talk to her more about RVs, because I feel like right now is a good time maybe potentially get an RV.
That RV.
Yeah, it just seems like a good way to get around at this point. Judges, while we're chit-chatting, you should definitely be filling out those votes if you get a chance on that link that you have.
And before we move on, actually, any judges having any challenges with your scoring?
Yes.
So you've got them under control.
Give us a thumbs up. We're good. Good. Okay.
Good Excellent. Job. Okay, then we're ready to move on to our next company.
For those of you that are watching, there's still that People's Choice poll out there too. So you get to vote as well. So don't just feel like the judges are voting. Everyone gets to
That's a long honored tradition with us. We've had a People's Choice poll for our competitions for 10 plus years. Yeah. We love the audience vote.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, next up.
Pocketnest from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Hi, my name is Jessica Willis. I'm the founder and CEO of Pocketnest. Pocketnest provides comprehensive financial planning to Gen X and millennials on a digital platform. And we do this by licensing our software to financial institutions like banks, credit unions, and investment advisors. I have 20 years experience in wealth management. I'm a certified financial planner, and I've co-managed $1 billion in assets for over 300 families. And I have seen a trend. 90% of millennials have gaps in their broader financial plans. And they're a generation that will amass $46 trillion by the end of 2020. 67% of this generation are getting all of their financial advice from two non-financial sources, Facebook and Twitter. On the other side of this equation are the financial institutions who are trying to get in front of this next gen. But the financial planning process is a very time-consuming one, resulting in an industry that only aims to serve the very wealthy, making it inefficient to scale and serve the masses. Until now. At Pocketnest, we've created the technology that allows these institutions to provide a white label experience to their next generation, all in their own brand. With step-by-step guidance, Pocketnest takes a user through all 10 themes of financial planning. Users end up with a customized to-do list consisting of recommendations, education, and tasks. This information, in addition to all the information we learn about them, is shared digitally back to the financial institution serving them, the same institution licensing our software. Now, fintech's a credit space, we know that, but we know this industry and have yet to find a tool that's both digital and comprehensive, which is a must for any financial institution looking to serve the next gen. Making all of the financial companies out there and all of the fintech companies out there not our competition, but our customers, making Pocketnest ripe for acquisition by any number of global financial companies. Now, our team of 7 launched our product in October. We've taken companies from pilot to full paying customers. We have 7 paying enterprise customers, and we've raised $700,000 of our $1 million round. We're growing at 24% month over month in total end users. Join our charge. Help us change the financial trajectory of millions of people. Thank you.
Hello there.
Welcome.
Great. All right, judges.
Looks like
let's jump in.
Yep. Phil?
Hey, Jessica. Very interesting. I guess I'm wondering, don't the larger financial institutions produce a lot of the same sort of content themselves? If you think about a JP Morgan or a Merrill Lynch, aren't they producing similar type of content and making it available to their customers?
Not that I've seen. The wirehouses you're referring to are, they've got such a strong focus on investments and they're deeply rooted in that investment piece. I'm not seeing comprehensive financial planning, and certainly not in the digital tool. And even more so, not in a tool that they're putting in the hands of the next generation to drive that process on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Jesse?
Great. I am very familiar with this space, and I have seen a couple of your competitors. So I would love to know, what are your 3 differentiators?
Yeah, and I think it would be, can you tell me a couple of the differentiators or competitors you're comparing us to?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I'd say right now, Ellevest, and then I was familiar with Invest, which was acquired by Northwestern Mutual.
Perfect.
And then we've seen, Gen Lux or something in New York.
Okay.
Learn Lux.
Great. So Jesse, Ellevest is like Betterment or Wealthfront. They're robo-advisors, and they've brilliantly figured out the investment piece, right? So they've brilliantly figured out how to bring investment to the masses. What they're not doing is, again, that comprehensive financial planning piece. So they're not saying, hey, end user, based on what we know about you, based on your tax bracket, how many kids you have, your last 3 jobs, the way you work, here's what you need to be doing from a life insurance standpoint, and proactively, here's the 529 that you should be in for your kids' college. So what we think is one of the big differentiators between all those companies and ours is that, they're not comprehensive financial planning. They're more brilliantly figured out their one niche of either investments or micro savings or micro investing. But again, not that comprehensive financial planning or CFP space. LearnVest was brilliantly figured out how to bring content like that, comprehensive CFP content, and not a user-facing app that's saying, hey, take your Illinois 529 and move it to a Michigan 529 and save, $89 a month by doing that.
Okay. And it was Next Gen Vest and Learn Lux, like
okay.
combined.
Okay.
Great.
All right, Eric, go ahead.
Hey, Jessica, we actually met a couple months ago in Detroit. I don't know if you remember that,
Eric.
Bamboo.
I do. How are you?
Good to see you. Go Blue. Grew up
Good
in Michigan as well. So I kind of have a follow-up question from what Phil was asking. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your ideal banking partner persona is? I imagine it wouldn't be necessarily the largest banks, but like regional banks or federal credit unions.
Exactly, Eric.
Yeah,
exactly. We view those global and national companies as potential acquirers for us. But our consumer base right now is the regional banks, the larger credit unions, the 500 million and above independent RIAs. So Phil, even to your earlier question, even if JP Morgan was doing that or Morgan Stanley was doing something similar, we're still, then we just go after the other 99,000 financial institutions out there and let them white label our brand for their own release of it.
Jean, go ahead.
Hi there. Great job, by the way. Question. So can you talk a little bit more about the business model and these relationships that you have with banks? What's that business model look like? And then also, you're in a field that has a lot of regulatory issues around it. Can you talk a little bit about that and it's, how you're thinking about that as a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take the first piece. So the revenue model, the business model is just a monthly subscription fee that the financial institution pays. So we're not passing this like a monthly fee on to end users. We don't want any pain points for end users. And so the financial institution pays us, it's just a monthly subscription fee. based on the number of end users, and it's all a tiered structure. So any institution with between 0 and 500 users pays us $2,000 per month, which equates to about $4 per end user per month. And as we have more and more users, that tier structure, increases, and we end up when we're serving institutions with about 200,000 end users, they're paying us about 49 cents per user. As far as the regulation piece, yes, I mean, this is an incredibly, highly regulated industry. In my 20 years, I've always had a role on the compliance piece. So we have two entities. We have a parent company that's a tech firm, Pocketnest Inc., and then we have a subsidiary that's an RIA, a registered investment advisor that we've registered with the SEC. And that allows us to, the subsidiary allows us to partner with institutions that want a real RIA, that want to say, hey, we're partnering with an RIA, doing comprehensive planning. But it also allows us to partner with the banks, because in their case, they don't want to necessarily license from an RIA. They want a license from a tech firm. They have regulation of their own.
And then just one point, you had a lot of interesting data in your presentation. I might recommend, as you think about presenting, that you put some graphics and some things to really underscore some of those strong points that you had in your presentation. Okay,
great. Thank you.
Sorry, one more question. So I was looking at it from the consumer side, but you're clearly just straight software B2B. How long does it take you to get one of these RAs up and running, and how difficult is it to implement in terms of the technology?
So Jesse, we're B2B2C. So our platform is all user facing. The B2B part is that we're bringing all that data back to the institution, back to our customers, so that they can understand their customers really efficiently and scale and serve more people. The implementation piece, the white label, it takes my development team about 4 hours to create a white label version of what we have. So we built this to be able to white label over and over and over. And so from a tech standpoint, we've got a really good process there.
Can I do one quick follow-up?
Sure. Yes.
What's your current ARR from the 7 enterprise customers?
We're making about 10 grand per month. So 120,000 on current customers. We'll end the year with 100 grand in revenue, but we have 2 more customers who signed up last week to launch on June 1st and another one to launch on August 1st. So we've got 3 more customers coming in, and we expect to get a couple more by the end of the year.
Great.
Thanks.
Cheryl, you have a question?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you once again for this. And on the B2B side, has there been any churn, or like what's the feedback been really from your customers on that side? And then on the B2C side, how are you planning on getting more users? Because there are more competitors, a little less directly with what you're doing, but more about getting customers very early on. So like students and like college kids and like educating all of that. So how are you trying to acquire that way?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the latter question because it's in front of mind. So we know we can't create the software and put it in the hands of the institutions and say, go out there, get customers. So we know it's fully our responsibility to engage with the marketing departments of those institutions to make sure that we're getting end user engagement. And so we have a war chest of marketing assets. Ashley Craven's our chief marketing officer. She spent the last creating marketing strategies, email campaigns, etc., so that we can engage that next gen. And Cheryl, to your point, yes, we're trying to engage early. So what we want to see is some of these community banks create a white label platform that they put out to the local university or the local college to say, hey, we're here for you. Maybe we get a little bit of CRA credit that way, but we also put this out there for you to help you with comprehensive planning, and of course the business cases that they're establishing relationships with the next gen. Churn has been fine. We haven't lost any customers. All of our institutional customers are in 12-month contracts, and if anything, the last couple months have been a now more than ever because it's our tool answer comprehensive planning for the end user, but secondly also allows the institutions to engage over technology gen.
All right.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I was entertained by Bessie. I forgot to tell you, time is up.
Oh, I didn't get to see the llama.
Oh, yeah, she was there hanging out. I just got really mesmerizing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
all right.
while our judges are casting their votes.
Yeah, so if you are watching, we really appreciate it. And I appreciate you following along. You can also vote, just like the judges here today. You get a chance to vote for our People's Choice Award out there right now. Cast your vote. It's if you go to soty.link, LINK /People's Choice, you'll be able to find the link there. It'll take you right to the page where you'll be able to vote for your favorite. So do that right now. And then also one more note about our sponsor today. So Zoho Creator is having an event soon on June 9th. You get a chance to receive a special offer if you sign up for their, if you sign up to the link that we provide as well. So it's on the screen to my right. So check
and
that out.
hopefully if you're watching, you're getting inspired. If you haven't already started a company, maybe it's something you want to do.
Yes, that's part of the goal here.
Yeah. And what's really great about an event like this is, we have events sometimes that are very specific, right? So it might be very health and wellness focused. This is sort of all across the board, something for everyone.
Yeah, and we're learning about a lot of things.
A lot of things, yes. So, all right, judges, how are we doing? Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Jesse, you good?
Okay, we're gonna move on then to our fourth startup. So we've already got 3 down, 3 out of 5. So here we go. Next up, we've got PredictivCare out of Bethesda, Maryland.
Hi, I'm Lillian Ting, co-founder of PredictivCare, the future of medicine today. The problem we're addressing is that 10% of serious diseases have a genetic component that could have been prevented. Our solution is to enable everyone to know their genetic predispositions to diseases so they can take preventive actions at an affordable price before symptoms appear. Now, we sequence 100% of a person's DNA and compare that with 16,000 diseases. Then we create a personalized genetic database with all your genes and associated risks, after which a physician can recommend preventive actions, treatments, and screenings based on your genetic profile. We also allow doctors to better detect underlying diseases earlier and have insights into a patient's genetic risk for adverse drug reactions. Thirdly, every step along the way, doctors get explanations with the most up-to-date genetic research, along with relevant patient risk alerts. In the US alone, we have an addressable market of $200 billion. And our initial market is in concierge medicine because we enable doctors to provide better patient outcomes while giving them an additional source of revenue and treatment options. We're in discussions with the largest concierge network in the US. We have a B2B2C revenue model where we charge doctors $1,500 per patient, including a 3-year subscription, after which it becomes $100 annually. Doctors charge patients an additional $1,000 for consultation and the cost of additional screening. Security and privacy are top priorities, and information is never sold. We have a fantastic team to scale the business with serial entrepreneurs and successful exits, and scientific co-founders who are experts in bioinformatics and genetics from Johns Hopkins University. Join us today to make predictive the next standard of health.
Welcome.
All right, questions from the judges.
Eric, go ahead.
Hey, Lillian, congratulations on such a cool company. I guess I have a bit of a philosophical question to start with regard to the healthcare industry. So in the United States, it seems that the medical system isn't necessarily designed around preventative care. It's more around like after the fact care.
Right.
And you're introducing something that's more oriented towards a preventative side of the thing, of the house. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering is there like a misalignment right now in terms of this timing for this business?
That's an interesting question. So what you're saying is true. You know, doctors are treating symptoms. That's why people come in. But I think there is a strong push for preventive medicine as well. And this actually is at the intersection of both preventive and diagnostics. So the physician has the platform. It can look at existing symptoms, and it can also tell you your preventive disease risks. So I would say that the goal is to essentially reinvent healthcare, change it from reactive to proactive. And I think we have an initial customer base that can really show in terms of the metrics that this is beneficial for healthcare insurances, that this will bring down health costs.
Yeah, the only reason why I raise this is like, I'm wondering whether the United States is the right market to start with first. There are like other kinds of markets that are more oriented towards preventive care, like in Europe and so forth. So want to flag that as a possibility as well.
Yeah, that's great. So we've actually had some conversations with other countries too. So we are having those conversations and starting some pilots there as well, like in Estonia.
Next question, Jesse?
Oh, Eric, I loved that question. That was like a great sort of overall view of what she's doing. And so this is amazing. And I do think this is the time to be in this industry, clearly. How does it work? It's a blood test? Is that how you're, collecting this information, or how does that work?
We can do it through a fingernail test or a blood test, either one.
Okay, fingernail or blood. And then, so will you be able to predict if people are more susceptible to COVID eventually?
So funny enough, the way that, like, for myself, so I did the test, you can see that I have a higher risk for influenza, I have asthma. So these are disease risks that are associated with a higher risk of developing serious COVID. So you can the answer is yes. Yeah.
All right, Jean, go ahead.
So Lillian, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the competition. I mean, there are a number of companies and products out there, obviously, that do some, DNA testing and analyze some of this. Then there's Tempus in Chicago, which you probably know, started by the co-founder of Groupon, which has the largest molecular data set in the nation. What's the competition, and are you looking at partnering with any of those that have a big head start in this field?
We're looking into partnerships right now. Our primary focus is with the American College of Concierge Doctors. So they're the largest concierge doctor group in the US. And, we're open to talking with different people and exploring partnerships. So
great. You're doing as much needed, and I give you a lot of credit, but it is sort of becoming a little bit of a crowded market. And so understanding who's out there and a little more about the competition could give you an edge.
Sure. Yeah. I think one of the things that makes our offering special is that you have a real-time searchable access to any of your genes, any of the conditions, over 16,000 different diseases. And that's one thing that makes this product stand apart, as opposed to like Nebula or Helix. They're looking at maybe 170 genes or 170 diseases, even if they are looking at all your genes.
Right. Well, thanks. I think what you're doing is great.
Great. Who's got the next question? Phil, and then Cheryl.
I don't want to cut Cheryl off. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Go ahead, Cheryl. We'll flip it.
Awesome. No, thank you. Just more of a quick question of kind of what your traction has looked like today, and then what has those conversations looked like for the potential customers that you have. I think my hang up here is just more about like the actual process itself, like, even just sales cycle wise, and even just, then implementing them into, the offices. Like how can you just walk us through that a little bit more to get more clarity?
To get the clarity of what those, like, establishing those partnerships and that sales cycle.
Yeah, what's it look like? How do you do that?
So for example, with Estonia, we went in, we did a presentation. They've actually gotten 20% of their population sequenced already. So we're coming in and providing the analysis and also the database to show the customer or show their patients what their disease risks are. So they don't have the ability to do that for their patients right now. So, on the country level, it's actually been really easy. We usually just reach out to them. Sajung and Sijung are professors at Johns Hopkins University. So they readily get access and credibility with other countries. And then also with the American College of Concierge Physicians, we just reached out to them and gave them a proposal, and we're in discussions. So for now, those discussions have been very, I'd say, very seamless. And then we're waiting a few more months before the actual rollout. So I think in terms of that question, that'll have to be answered at a later stage.
Gotcha. Phil, do you still have a question?
Yeah, real quickly. Sure. You had talked a little bit about your team, and it sounds impressive, but I didn't hear anything about your background. Can you just tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. So I've been with Select Venture Partners. We invest in early stage SaaS companies. Also, I've been a serial entrepreneur, advised startups. And then Alex Rushgood, he has been a serial entrepreneur as well, director of a couple of accelerators, also had an exit, and founded and exited within 2 years. So we have a strong combination of the science, medical, and entrepreneurial experience.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
All right,
well, thank you.
No, Bessie, thank you. No, yeah, thank you, Lillian. Very succinct. Thank you so much. All right, judges, get a chance to cast your votes right now, and we'll get on to our next company here in a second. Out of my hometown,
Chicago.
Sweet home, Chicago.
Oh, and don't forget, guys, as you are all sitting there in the audience, not only make sure you cast your vote, make sure you sign up for Zoho, and also be thinking about what could you start with a .us domain.
All right, yeah, that's a great point. I've got ideas. Yeah, definitely. Oh, and by the way, ours is .us. That's right.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Judges, thumbs up if you're good. All right.
Good. We got the thumbs up.
Then we are going on to our very last company of
Last
today.
but not least.
Yes. Startup number 5 is ReThink Words from Chicago, Illinois.
Go kill yourself. That was a message that Rebecca Sedgwick, a 12-year-old girl from Florida, received on her social media. After being cyberbullied for over a year and a half, Rebecca couldn't take it anymore. She climbed to the top of her town's water tower and jumped off. Cyberbullying is a serious issue, and now with young people spending even more time online, a proactive solution to stop online hate is needed. That's where ReThink comes in, a solution by young people for young people. My name is Trisha Prabhu. I'm a junior at Harvard, and I'm the founder and CEO of ReThink, a patented app that detects and stops cyberbullying. Operating as a keyboard on mobile devices, ReThink works across all apps to detect offensive messages and give users a chance to reconsider sending them. So when a user tries to post something like, "You are so ugly" on social media, ReThink detects that message and then prompts the user, "Hold on, are you sure you want to post that message?" Our research finds that over 93% of the time, that alert works. So our competitors' parental control software tries to combat cyberbullying after it occurs. But ReThink stops cyberbullying at the source with the cyberbully before the damage is done. Our business model's primary focus is bringing the ReThink technology to schools. Through an annual subscription model, we implement and support a school-specific version of the ReThink app on school devices. Now, in addition, of course, anyone can download the ReThink app that's currently free, but we're looking to monetize that distribution channel through an in-app purchase for parents. Today, via partnerships with organizations like the US State Department, ReThink has reached 5.5 million students in 1,500 schools internationally and been featured on everything from TED to ABC's Shark Tank. From here, the potential for growth is enormous. So join us. Together, let's conquer cyberbullying.
She's on her way. Here she is.
Trisha, you're with us.
Yes. Hello. How are you?
Good. Welcome.
Great to have you here. All right, let's jump right into questions.
Who's got the first question? Bill?
Yeah. Hey, Trisha. It's a really cool product, very interesting, and solves obviously a real pain point. I like how it's more proactive than the competitors' reactive solutions. That's great. I'm wondering, how do you get the students to download this app? What's their incentive to do it? And is it does it interact? Does it work with all kinds of messaging apps?
Absolutely. Two great questions. So first off, as a 20-year-old, I developed this product when I was, 15. I'm not naive. I know that, young people, it would be great if they woke up and, they're like, it's time to download ReThink. But we know that's not likely. And so that's why we focus on bringing ReThink to those individuals who oversee teen device use, schools and parents. And so they kind of act as like our buffer to then reach these adolescent populations that we think really need this technology. With that said, I think a lot of teens from an incentive standpoint, when they're faced with the trade-off between parental control software and ReThink, which empowers them to make the right decision instead of having a parent read their texts. They really prefer one over the other, and that's what our focus groups say. And I think too, teens just really relate to this idea of, gosh darn, why did I do that? I really regret making that decision. I think a lot of, I certainly have, in my youth made decisions where I went back, why did I do that? And so I think teens really relate to this product and feel like it understands them. And so, we're totally conscious of that. And that's why we try to focus on schools and parents. And then as for your second question, sorry. Now I'm sorry. Would you mind repeating the second question?
Now I don't remember what my second question was.
It's okay.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. I apologize.
That's okay. Jessica, go ahead.
You talked, first of all, this is amazing. Really great technology you're building and so important. And I feel like that's the right time to catch them too. It's just like a little tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little more about monetization? You mentioned that you were hoping to monetize by having them download an app that costs something, but how do you see that down the road playing out? And what have you thought about in terms of other monetization strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have already monetized, and our revenue model is based off of bringing the ReThink technology to schools. So what we do is we implement and support a school-specific version of the app in these schools. We provide them 24/7 tech support. We provide them aggregate data and analytics on how the technology is working with their students. And we provide them an educational curriculum that's K through 12, grade specific, that they can then use to teach digital citizenship basics to their students. And then in return, schools pay us an annual fee that ranges between $500 to $1,500 and is dependent on the size of the school as well as financial need. So that's kind of one component of our revenue model. The second component that we're trying to monetize is the individual download. So right now, if you go to the Google Play Store, the App Store, and you download ReThink, it's completely free. But what we've noticed in our focus groups and in talking with parents is they want a more comprehensive ReThink experience. They want the opportunity to get data and analytics. How is the app working with their child? They want to have features like the ability to disable their child from switching off the ReThink keyboard onto another keyboard. And so we're planning on packaging all those features into an in-app purchase, which is scheduled to release in December of 2020. And we're hoping, at $1 a month, $12 a year, this will be a bargain for parents who need some sort of software solution to try to tackle online hate and want their kids to build, responsible decision-making skills. And Phil, I just remembered your question. Your question was, does it work across all messages? ReThink is a keyboard. And the beauty of that solution means that ReThink works across all social media. So any type of text-based communication, messaging, email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right, who's got the next question? Jean, go ahead.
As selling into schools can be a long and laborious process, I'm just wondering, have you given thought to, or do you have any partnerships with those who already have a strong standing in the school market?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that we work with schools, because as you mentioned, it really is a long and laborious process, lots of regulations, lots of people need to sign off and 1.5 billion things. So what we do is we actually work at the state level or the district level, often at the county level. So for example, we've partnered with the state of Michigan to bring our curriculum to all of their 2 million students in high schools. So we work at really high levels, and then we kind of put in the initial time and investment, and then we're able to reach thousands and thousands of schools. We also often work at the district level, the county level, and that's kind of how we go about building those partnerships. The other thing we do is we have some amazing partnerships. We work with the US State Department, for example, to reach schools in international countries. So ReThink has reached 134 countries through the US State Department, and they've helped connect us with schools in kind of the more international arena. And then we also work with educational organizations, like Girls Who Code is one of our partners.
Interesting.
Great, thanks.
Cheryl, go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you again. I think you had the really amazing pitch, so congrats on that. And you definitely have had practice by being, on Shark Tank and TED Talks and all of that. So congratulations on that front. So in that sense, you actually have been doing this for a while. So would love to kind of get a sense of where, what the revenue growth has looked like, whether or not you've had to pivot some of this, business model. I think when I first heard of it, I thought of it more as a feature. So I would love to kind of get a better sense of how you're making this more of a business that can, scale and become, $1 billion unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. I've been doing this for a little while. Started when I was 13, and we incorporated in 2015. So we've been incorporated for 5.5 years. We first kind of rolled out a revenue model base of ReThink in 2017. We didn't become sustainable until 2018, but last year we generated revenue in excess of $500,000, and we were able to net $300,000. So we took home a good chunk of cash. And so and I think the reason for that, and kind of the way that we've been building ReThink out, the way that we pivoted, was we recognized that what we found is there were a lot of schools who saw these new devices, these new one-to-one devices that were coming into their environments as a liability. And they were worried, if we see cyberbullying and kids, bullying each other, we're going to have issues from our perspective, from a liability perspective. And there was no software that actually scaled to the school environment. Parental control software works in the home, but it doesn't work for a school. And so schools they just really did not have anywhere to turn in terms of working with a private provider of some sort of anti-hate software, some sort of, digital citizenship software. And so that was kind of when we made that pivot, and we saw enormous success. And in the wake of COVID-19, now that educational learning is completely digital, we've seen, a huge spark in schools are really interested in bringing something like this to their devices, because for them, the way that they see it is, oh my gosh, this is a liability on our end if we have an incident happen. So we need to think about proactive solutions to try to tackle cyberbullying. In terms of the future, we're on track this year to reach another 750,000 students across the globe. That's 500 new schools. It's a little smaller than we wanted, but COVID-19 has obviously presented some logistical challenges to schools. And we just think from here that the next step is to take ReThink to the next level. And that's why we're excited to be pitching and hopeful that something like this will help us do that.
All right.
All right, we've reached time.
Yeah, we've got Bessie there. I know, Eric, sorry, you've got a question there. I don't think we can get it in.
I can try and do a quick 2-second answer if it's possible.
Quick.
I'll make this a comment. It's not really a question. So in my experiences, I used to work in education for a while. Selling to districts is really difficult in schools. So a thought for you is actually think about selling this as part of an existing learning management system like Naviance, or possibly like a Remind, or maybe even better, pairing up with insurance and liability companies. So if this is sold as part of Hartford Travelers, and every school needs to have insurance, you can make the case that this will reduce student liability by reducing cyberbullying. So think about some of those B2B to C channels as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Really good feedback. Thank you, Eric. All right.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Bye now. All right. So how about, first off, thank you all for listening to these 5 pitches, everyone listening online. How about a round of applause? All right. Thank you to the startups. Thank you to Bessie, the llama, for joining us every so often. Really like Bessie. Great to see her. Again, she's Coloradan.
Yes.
Llama that manages a bunch of.
I hear she's a real leader.
She's a leader. Yeah, she manages a whole herd of goats, keeps them in line. That's pretty cool. And obviously, judges, thank you so much for doing what you're doing today. I know you guys are busy, and appreciate you taking the time. So tally up those votes, and we'll get that going here in a second, and hopefully we'll see everyone that's online watching at our next event. So while you're finishing up that tallying, any last thoughts, final thoughts from our judges? Any advice for the startups? Any words of wisdom? Real quick, we'll just go around the horn. Let's start with, let's see.
Start with Jean. I see her mic is unmuted.
Let's go to Jean, yeah.
Well, first of all, I was really, really impressed with the impact several of these founders want to have in our world in really, really powerful ways. I give them great credit for being with us today. I think they're off to a great start. It was a lot of fun to hear from them. And I thought my fellow judges gave them some really good advice from time to time. So thanks, Jen and Frank.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Jean. Thanks for being here. All right, next up, let's see. What do we got?
Who else is finished with some scoring and wants to give a few words? Phil?
Yeah, I thought they all did a really good job. I mean, especially because they didn't have much time, and they're relatively short pitches, so they fit a lot in. And I know it's hard to cover everything. For some of the pitches, I felt like I would have wanted a little more information about the team and the founder, the presenter, about their background. I feel like that was missing a little bit on some of them. But overall, I thought they did a really good job, and some innovative, smart products too, and some really smart founders. So it was great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Next up, how about Cheryl?
Yes, thank you so much, Jen and Frank, for having us here. And I have also been so impressed by all the pitches we saw today. I think just for those, watching and kind of, if you don't have as much experience pitches, what I usually like to see, especially if you only have 2 to 3 minutes, and those that make the most impact, at least for me, is either one, start with a compelling story, just like ReThink did, or start by just saying up front the problem and then go straight into what your company has done, right? The traction, the partnerships, all those things that can kind of give us signals so that when we later hear the rest of it, we can kind of, instead of being like, oh wait, but is this a business, or like what's going on, or like getting lost, we can say, okay, they've clearly shown they've done something right, so let's kind of like add to the argument from there on, right, and put the pieces together. And so I think that's what really makes a compelling pitch, especially when you only have so much time. And I think a lot of these pitches were fantastic in terms of how much they did communicate, to Phil's point. And so that's just kind of one thing that has stood out for me. But I mean, female founders just get the job done, and so I'm really excited for the promise that all of these have.
Thank you, Cheryl. And that's a great point, and a great actually it's a baseball analogy you just created in my head, which is just literally come out hitting singles and just score some runs and get on the board, versus like waiting for everyone to get on and then hit the grand slam, because that could take a while to set up and may not happen. So
I knew we couldn't go 2 hours without a baseball analogy.
I'm missing baseball right now, so I had to get that in. Thank you so much. All right, so Eric, you're next, and then we'll go to Jesse.
Yeah, thank you again, Jen and Frank, for setting up this opportunity, and for the co-judges here. Really great to do this with you. Great questions today. And of course, big thank you to the founders that spoke. So I'd say that on top of all the feedback related to pitches, I generally think that for these kind of quick sessions, to try hitting 5 pillars: team, problem, solution, market, and traction. That's team, problem, solution, market, and traction. I'll just repeat that again. And that should cover most of your bases, I think. So if you think about your own elevator pitches, you're crafting that after this event, that might be just a good litmus test to check your pitch to make sure that you're covering that. And that's all I had to say.
That's great. No, that's great feedback. We're hearing a lot of great feedback. Thank you, judges, for sharing this. And I think it's gonna be super helpful for anybody that's following along, that's got a company and has to go out and pitch. So thank you. Everyone should have written that down the last few.
It's recorded.
Oh, good. You can watch it. Yeah, that's great.
All right.
We're live.
Jesse.
All right, Jesse, go ahead.
I think all of the, first of all, thank you so much for having me again, and all of the judges. It's been so great working with you here. Everyone kind of took what I was going to say in terms of what you put in the pitches, as far as, it's like market size, revenue. I did want to see a lot more numbers also. I think that those are something you can grab onto. And then at least in my little like diligence checklist, I can sort of be like, okay, check they're producing revenue. Okay, check this is the market size. That's very helpful. And so Eric's list is like perfect. Then also, I've learned even in my own pitches that just people are much more visual. And if you are in a complicated industry, first of all, they blew me away with how diverse these industries were. We saw a little of everything today, and that was really fun. But if you are in a more complex industry, I think it is important to make sure that you show some interesting visuals that explain very, in layman's terms, what you're doing and how you're solving the problem and how it's different, because investing in early stage startups means you're investing in the billion-dollar businesses of the future. And so often these ideas have never been seen before, and you're doing something unique and new and exciting. And you may be the first person telling these investors about this idea ever. So just break it down. You live and breathe it every day, but no one else does. So I think the simpler, the better. Educate.
I love it. That's a great point. We're not all bakers of, what was it?
Graphene.
Graphene, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all so much. Great advice. Thank you, judges, for joining us. Please hang with us here. We're gonna announce the winner here, but thank you to everyone joining us online today as well. We'll see you again at our June event, which is coming up. We'll announce that soon. It's basically the one that was supposed to be our South by Southwest panel. So we're actually bringing that together. So South by Southwest was canceled. We're bringing it back online, and it's actually titled Startups in Government Compatible at Last. So we'll have guests from NASA iTech, AFWERX, which is part of, or works in partnership with, or part of the U.S. Air Force, Re3D, which is our 2019 Startup Year winner, as well as our very own Rich Malloy, who's our VP of Engagement. He'll be in there as well, having a great chat. So we'll be putting that out soon in June, and so please come back for that. Judges, you're all invited as well.
Yes.
There'll be no judging at that point unless you just want to maybe write us a note or something or in the chat. And then obviously, Jen, go ahead.
Yes, and a reminder, this is the last reminder to apply today for the 2020 Startup of the Year competition, including the .US Veteran Startup of the Year. U.S. veteran founders apply before June 25th for a chance to participate in our next online pitch event, just like this one, on July 23rd.
July 23rd.
Announcement.
Yes.
Winners.
All right. So we got our People's Choice Award winner, which everyone on the internet has been voting, and they'll obviously receive a silver microphone to put in your trophy case. And the winner just came in hot off the presses here. People's Choice winner is Cherry Blossom. Congratulations for Cherry Blossom. People's Choice Award winner, really making an impact there out of Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. Great pitch. All right.
And the winner of today's Startup of the Year virtual pitch competition.
Female founders,
who will receive a gold microphone trophy and automatically advance to the Startup of the Year Summit this fall is, let's have a drum roll. The winner is MITO Materials. There she is.
There she is. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say a word or two?
Thank you. I'm so excited. I really appreciated your comments, your feedback, and thank you so much. This is great. I'm really excited.
Awesome job. Definitely making an impact. I also want to talk to you about RVs later because I know that's your past as well. We talked about that when you weren't there, so we'll have to riff on that.
And I would say if you haven't looked into it yet, both NASA and the Air Force will be very interested in what you're doing. So look forward to talking to you about that too.
I'm very excited about growing my network in those spaces.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Congrats, your trophy is on the way.
What's that, Eric?
So awesome that you're representing Indy as well. It's one of my favorite towns.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's been a really great move we just made, and we're really proud of it.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
One of our teammates is from there. And speaking of our team, thank you to all the members of our team who make this possible, who worked really, really hard. And every event we do gets better and better. We're very excited to work with such a great group of people.
Yep. And thank you all for bearing with us. We had a slight hiccup here and there, but if you could see what's going on behind the scenes, oh my goodness.
We've got llamas.
There's a lot. I mean, we got a lot virtual llamas. There's so much stuff teleporting around here, and we're just trying to keep it together. So thank you so much for joining us. Oh,
so
and
we are going to take a quick photo.
There she is. She's back.
Becky's on the screen.
She's getting a carrot and she's ready. And we're all going to take a quick photo here because you can't take.
If everyone can lean in and smile.
We're going to take a photo. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Somebody get it. All right. Somebody get that photo. Great. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bessie.
You all. Looking forward to seeing you back here sometime soon. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe and be well, everyone out there. And if you're a startup founder, keep starting up.